So to continue where I started outside, we've really been pleased with this car. The fit and finish is really, really good. And we love the fact that candidly, it doesn't look like some of the crazily styled electric vehicles out there, right? It has sort of looks just like a regular Golf or GTI, and I happen to like that styling. The fit and finish in the car is really good. The e-Golfs, at least certainly this generation and this particular car, this is a German-built car, which isn't no commentary on the domestic automakers, but it just feels really solid. Little things that are important to me as a driver, things like the leather wrap steering wheel. I mean, this is just a really nice thick rimmed wheel. It's fantastic, but you didn't tune in for that. A lot of people want to know about the economy, about living with a vehicle that is electric only. So I wanted to, just share some insight on, those things from my perspective. So, looking at the layout of the gauges, obviously it's different, right? Because it's battery powered. It gives you, I leave the range on all the time because that's really the most critical thing to me. But a lot of information there. I enjoy the gauges. I mean, basically what happens here as you drive, this sweeps, it's sort of an efficiency monitor, and it also will show you as you're regenerating, going downhill, it'll actually show that you're putting power back into the battery. Unique feature that you can't do with any of our gas cars, so that's pretty wild. So as you can see, we're about 77,000 miles right now. A great feature of the car, it has a lot of modes through the center stack that allow you to kind of monitor what you're doing. You can see right now we're at about 4 miles to kilowatt hour. It is summertime, so the car is more efficient during the summer. It definitely takes a hit in cold and winter. Sometimes the car sits outside. The battery drops off much quicker. Rated range for this car when it was new was 124 miles. If I had to guess, I'd say currently it's getting maybe 110 on a full charge, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's so affected by really by not only the geography that you're driving over, big hills make an impact, of course, but going down the hill then helps you regenerate, but also the weather. So there's a lot of variables in play. It's not a car that I'd be trying to cross the country in. I think it's just more work than is necessary. This one, as a 2017, it's an SE, but thankfully it gets the quicker charging, the quickest among what Golfs could get, far slower than a modern car like a Tesla. But again, this was a compliance fix for Volkswagen. This is where they just adapted electric technology into a platform they already had, and I really just think the car, I'd almost go so far as to call it brilliant. So I thought I'd take you for a quick test drive, just kind of run you through how it goes down the road. And I will tell you, prior to buying this car, that's pretty cool, by the way, when the camera, the VW emblem in the back flips out to become the camera. When I bought this car, every car I've owned to this point is gas or diesel. Our fleet is an array of different vehicles. I view myself as a car person, and I really wasn't very open to electric. But as time has gone on, my curiosity got the better of me, and I thought, maybe an opportunity to try it out. Somebody that I know at a dealership setting took this car in, and it seemed like a perfect opportunity for me to get to try it. So, one of the unique features of the car and the way it runs, it has various settings. You got a mode button down here through which you can choose any of 3 settings, normal, eco, or economy plus. I often run it in eco just to stretch out the distance because after all, the number one reason I drive this car is for efficiency. We use it as a convenience for hauling kids around, doing a lot of different things like that. But one thing that's just really special is how crazy the power is when it comes on. And the car is by no means a rocket ship, but the instant delivery of the electrical power is crazy. And you can see on the gauge right here, notice how it went down into the green. I'm regenerating right now. So it's a really cool feature that, when you go down a hill or you come to a stop, you have the ability to, regenerate power, put it back into your battery, and that's something pretty slick. But the immediacy of the torque, this car really hauls in the, say 0 to 40 range. It is not a fast car. I think they're rated a little over 0.9 seconds 0 to 60. So if you're hoping to scare somebody or scare yourself with the power, this probably isn't the car. But what's amazing, I mean, I'll be quiet for a second, but listen generally to the quietness. And this car has kind of an aggressive all-season tire on it, so I hear some that's really more due to tire choice than the car. But it's shockingly quiet in here. It just is a very solid, it drives like a solid European car, but really, particularly with some of the tax incentives that came on pre-owned used car electric vehicles this year, it made this a better value proposition for our household than a gas Golf, which was a contender. So that's pretty exciting. So the cost piece, and again, I'm not an accountant, I can't counsel you on financial decisions, but I would say it's worthy of considering, because there was a federal tax incentive. I know a lot of cities and towns and states have some level of incentive, so maybe that's something that would interest you as well. But the car is really great, and for getting into the electrical market, it really seemed like more or less you had a couple of players, right? You had the e-Golf, which was a few years run. It was only sold in select markets. Chevy Bolt, which is obviously much newer and more expensive, and the Nissan Leaf, right? The Leaf's been around a long time. Early Leafs had the 84-mile range. That was worrisome to me as the battery degrades. I was worried about, kind of what was going to be the true driving span for those. And the early Golfs had the 84-mile range as well. And I actually looked at one of those with lower miles than this car and really got warm on buying it, but the range consideration was such a concern. Though I read these batteries generally are very robust, and Volkswagen gives an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty, I believe, on the battery. They promise that it'll be at 70% of its capacity or better during that span of time. So, fingers crossed that we make it to that threshold. This car was actually a late sold car. It wasn't sold until 2018 as new. So we got 8 years from then. So, but the overall, just to get back to the review of this exact car, I looked at a couple of Leafs. I'm sure they're a good car, and I understand why people buy them. For my taste as a car person, and our household has a Mustang GT, we have a couple of classic trucks, we have a Ram 2500, we have a Wrangler. Our tastes are kind of all over the place, but we are car people. This one's fun. Like, it's just fun to drive. It's quiet. It feels well put together. Every time I drive this, the first thing I think is, this is too much fun for being so economical. So that's how I view it. And again, one person's opinion, right? I'm not sponsored. Certainly, this is just an opinion from somebody who's owned, well over 100 cars in my lifetime, and I just find this thing to be just a lot of fun. So, the opportunity. These cars are around the 2017 and newer, the ones that have the longer 124-mile range, which was the most that they offered in an e-Golf. These cars are in the market right now, $20,000 and less. It's really a relatively great buy in the way of, a car that's inexpensive to run. At 4 miles per kilowatt hour, we're currently paying about 12 cents a kilowatt hour. So if you extrapolate that out, I always kind of base my math on like 30 miles of travel, somewhere in there. So, to go to 30 miles, it's a little over 7 kilowatt hours. So to wrap that back for us, what are you, about $1 of electricity to go 30 miles? So I think that's a very reasonable trade-off. The other nice thing about electric cars that I really did not know until I got this one was the fact that because of the regenerating into the battery, you can drive it more or less as a one pedal, and the benefit is you're not wearing out the brakes. It's amazing how little you actually use the brakes in the car, so they last a long time. And when I bought it, I had the dealer, the previous owner had just done new brakes on the front end. The dealer did the backs for me, so I started from new. But mind you, the car had over 70,000 miles. So, that's a great benefit, I think. The only thing is I do take it and try to do some hard stops here and there because I want to keep everything in functioning condition. So anyway, I don't want to go, I don't want to go 30 minutes with this. The upshot was I just want to share, everything that you could find on a Golf or a GTI of this generation in the way of, the fit, cargo space, all that stuff. Those things apply to this car. The only difference is it's powered by an electric powertrain, and I can't brag on it enough. Like, it was one of those things that I got excited about it, decided to buy the car. My wife and I went and picked it up, and I have zero buyer's remorse. And I'm actually excited because one of our kids, I think, will ultimately drive this car to college, and it will suit them really well. So I'm open to questions. There were some videos on these cars when I started really researching them, but there's not a lot of information out there. And if I can help you in any way, of course, post a comment down below. Feel free to subscribe. We've got a lot of automotive content going on the channel, a lot more to be added. And again, I welcome your input, and would be thrilled to have you join us on the journey as we review many other cars and get a little more in-depth on our other projects, which include our 2008 Mustang GT. We're doing some restoration work right now on our 66 Ford F100, and a lot of fun topics. So hang in and have a great day.